Hi everyone, Friday here, and for today's video, I want to go and introduce to you guys a fun, delicious little summer dessert that I like to make whenever it is burning hot outside, which is like always in Boston. So growing up, one of the few things my mother would actually bake for me and my sister from scratch was cheesecake. Fun fact, my experience with making cheesecake, it's on the more limited side. Generally when you give me cream cheese, I'm more inclined to make frostings with it, but I do appreciate a good cheesecake every now and then. For the recipe that I'm providing you guys today, there are a couple of little different spins that I want to do on it to make it more summery. The first one is to help invoke the flavor of corn on the barbecue. I use cornflakes instead of graham crackers for the crust. And then the whole dessert, I'm seasoning it with blood orange because those are very summery, very seasonal, and they just add such a nice color to the cheesecake. And then I'm also using strawberries because strawberries, blood orange, and corn, nothing screams summer to me more than those three flavor profiles, especially when you put them together. So for the crust itself, I used cornflakes, I crushed them up, melted some butter down. I took a lot of blood oranges and I just removed the peels first before I did anything else with it. And I infused the peels into the melted butter for the crust just to help give it the blood orange flavor. And then I pat it down into a lightly oiled 9-inch circular cake tin. And then I baked that at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes just to help solidify the crust. You want to bake the crust off first so that way it becomes harder, because if you add the filling into the raw crust, the filling will just sort of seep through the holes of the crust. And what will happen is the cheesecake will just make the crust super dense and almost impossible to cut through. For the cheesecake filling, it's pretty annoying to me, to be honest, because there's a lot of different steps you have to take. The first one is the blood orange syrup. And what you do there is you juice your blood oranges, make sure that there's no pulp or seeds, and you just reduce that overheat by about half. You want it to be about 2 to 3 tablespoons worth of liquid. You don't want too much because too much liquid added into the cheesecake mixture could cause it to potentially scramble. And then for the other puree fruit type thing that you're mixing into the cheesecake, that's the strawberry coulis. And how to make that is I just take the strawberries and then I chop them up after I remove the leaves. You're gonna save the leaves and use those, so do not discard those. You're gonna go and chop them up, add them with water, and then just reduce that down until it's very soft. I added in a couple of blood orange peels into that as well. And after the mixture is reduced down significantly and the strawberries are very soft, I took it, passed it through a strainer, making sure to smush it to get all the pectin out, scraping the pectin off and adding it back into the liquid. You want the pectin in there to help thicken up the puree. That way, even though it's a liquid, it won't harm the consistency of the cheesecake as it bakes, as opposed to it just being a straight strawberry juice, in which case that could potentially cause the cheesecake to split and separate and scramble, which you don't want either. And then once you get those two mixtures, the syrup and the puree created, make sure to have them cool down to at least room temperature before you use them. From there, what I do is I take cream cheese, sour cream, eggs, and sugar and mix them together. I recommend just start with the cream cheese first and maybe cut it with the sour cream and the sugar. I wouldn't add the eggs in right away because the eggs could cause the cream cheese to get very lumpy if the cream cheese isn't whipped and softened thoroughly enough. Once the cream cheese is whipped enough, add in the eggs and whip it all together to make it super nice and fluffy. If your cheesecake mixture ends up having lumps in it, what you can do is whip it over a double boiler, or if you have a stand mixer and a blowtorch, whip it on high speed on the stand mixer while using the blowtorch lightly on the edge of the bowl to help soften up the cream cheese so that way it will melt down a little bit more and it will smooth out. Once you get the cream cheese mixture made, start with the blood orange syrup, you add that into the mixture first and it will dye a very light pink hue. Then you take the strawberry puree and you fold that into the cream cheese mixture. With the strawberry puree, you have to make sure to save about 1/3 of it because you will be using that to glaze the top of the cake with, but take the rest of the puree and add that into your cream cheese mixture. Then you take all that, pour it over the cornflake crust, and then you bake that in the oven at 325 degrees for 50 minutes. I will admit, when I baked the cheesecake, I did it stupidly enough at 350 degrees for 50 minutes, which is why my cheesecake ended up cracking on the top. Cracking happens when the cheesecake gets overbaked or if you bake it at too high of a temperature, which is why you always need to go and keep it at a relatively low one. But I'm stupid and I baked it at 350. But you know, the more you know. And if your cheesecake does crack like mine, do not worry. If you cover it up with enough garnishes, no one will know. Earlier I talked about saving the strawberry leaves, and here's the reason why. We're going to be using that to help decorate the cake. With the strawberry leaves, what you want to do first is you want to go and take those, put them on a sheet tray, Make sure it's lined with like something so that way the strawberries don't burn and stick to the tray itself and ruin the metal. And then just bake those at whatever temperature you want for about 10 minutes. What I recommend doing is when you're setting your oven to preheat, that's when you chuck the strawberry leaves into the oven. What you want is for the moisture from the strawberry leaves to be removed so that way they're slightly crunchy. That's the texture you need it to be at so that way all of the toxins in the strawberry leaves are killed. You can take that mixture then and combine it with water, blood orange peels, and bring it to a simmer. And then I recommend adding in about a quarter cup of sugar, letting that melt while it's cooling down, and then straining out the orange peels and the strawberry leaves, making sure to press against the strainer to help extract as much of that flavor as possible from the solids. With this liquid, you'll be using it for two things. The first thing you want to do is take it and slice some blood oranges into super thin pieces, and then you're gonna go and poach the blood oranges in that liquid. You want to just poach them until the pit starts to turn translucent, and from there, spread them onto a sheet tray and chuck them into the 325-degree oven for about 20 minutes. The reason why you want to poach the orange slices, period, is because it will help keep the oranges from burning when you add them into the oven. Then what you want to do with the syrup afterwards is you want to cool it down, because then you will be using that to go and glaze your strawberries with. So with the cake itself, once it's done baking, you want to go and let it cool in the oven turned off for 10 minutes to help again with preventing the cracking. And then once you do that, take it out of the oven, let it further cool at room temperature. What I like to do is once I take it out of the oven, use a offset spatula to help detach the edges of the cheesecake from the sides of the pan, and then let it cool fully before removing it. And then from there, to decorate, what I do is I take the strawberry puree first, spread that very evenly over the top of the cheesecake, and it really helps with covering the cracks. Even though my cheesecake was cracked, you don't really see it too much at this point already with just the puree on top of it. So what I do for my other garnishes is I take strawberries, cut them in half, and then I glaze them in the blood orange strawberry tea poaching liquid I made earlier. The reason why you want to glaze your berries after you cut them in half is so that way they don't dry out. Glaze the berries, put them on top of the cheesecake, garnish with the blood orange slices, and voila! You have a strawberry, blood orange, and corn cheesecake, perfect for the summer. Enjoy it with your friends like how I did, or just eat it alone in the dark while watching Korean dramas if you're into that too. I won't judge you. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm probably gonna go and watch some Korean dramas or something. What? I said I didn't judge. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye! I'm just joking. I don't watch Korean dramas. I only watch Japanese dramas.